In honor of the summer solstice today, I wanted to make a video that discussed the seasons in relation to the human journey. So by beginning with spring, it's easy to look around at our external world and really see nature beginning to grow, come back to life, and go through a little bit of a thriving phase. It's a time of rebirth and renewal, and we can clearly see that with the animals coming out of hibernation and going into like their fertility cycles, as well as the plants just starting to grow new leaves, new flowers, and beginning to bloom. For farmers, it's a time where they plant the seeds for the crops that they want to harvest for the coming year. Our ancestors really relied on being able to plant seeds to have an abundant crop that allowed them to make it through the whole year. For us, in relation to that, we could really explore it through our goal setting and our intentions and what we're trying to manifest and make happen in our lives. It doesn't matter if it's in like career, home and family, or friendships and other relationships that we have with people or material items. It's a good time to really focus on planting seeds. It's a good time to maybe do energy work around that. We're creating like vision boards or goal setting and really getting specific at what am I trying to create with my life? Where am I on my path? Where am I going? What do I want? Because when summer comes around, the sun is at its full power. Vitality is all around us. Things are definitely at their peak of growing. And it's up to us to just kind of keep watering and nourishing and weeding the garden. So while we're doing that, metaphorically in the real world, we're also doing it like in the internal world. We have a garden that you grew within you in the spring. And so now it's time to really focus and put aside distractions and really weed out what is not helpful for you on your path. So then when the fall comes, it's time for the harvest. It's time to really gather the rewards of all of our hard work over the past 6, 7, 8 months of what we planted, the things that are coming to fruition, and really looking back and reflecting on how far we've come since we planted those seeds and what has grown, what has come from that, what didn't manage to survive, what had to be weeded out and left behind and let go of. The important thing is realizing what you did actually earn and create and manifest in your life by giving thanks and really recognizing the abundance that you have. It's easier to move forward in a mental state of abundance and gratitude that really just opens up the universal gateways and allows you to have an alignment energetically with more things to be grateful and more abundance to have in your life. So it's really important to go into winter knowing that it's a time for isolation, it's a time for stillness, it's a time for death, it's a time for letting go. There are so many people that suffer from seasonal depression disorder because we've lost daylight, because we've lost the warmth and the power of the sun, and now we have to kind of retreat into our homes to wait out the cold months. But it doesn't always have to be such a negative thing. Going into that stillness allows you time to really reflect on the year's harvest, what you have to nurture you and get you through those winter months. There can be lack if you didn't manifest enough goals there, but there's also overabundance and plenty to sustain you if you had really planted your seeds, nurtured your garden, and reaped your harvest. With the death of winter really comes a time to introvert into yourself and use that time to gain momentum for the coming spring once again. And that's why, it's like a cycle. It just kind of keeps repeating and keeps repeating. And the more you can become in tuned and aligned with those cycles, the further you'll be able to detach, the further you'll be able to know where you are on your path. And so really it helps keep us from reaching burnout and feeling overwhelmed and stressed out and just like always thinking mentally we have to be in this action stage. We have to keep creating and keep going and keep creating and keep going. And with our society, a lot of times that's how it's looked at, like laziness if you take a break or a vacation or if you don't produce something. But the truth is we're not really, as an element of nature, we're just not really built to constantly keep going and keep going and keep going. We need to tune ourselves with the seasons and with the cycles and realize there's a time for planting seeds of intentions. There's a time to keep watering them and nourishing them and weeding out what doesn't work. There's a time to harvest all of our hard work and really just celebrate the abundance that we have, celebrate all of the successes, and even really celebrating the failures, because without those failures you wouldn't learn, you wouldn't thrive, you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't alter your actions. And so with the winter, it doesn't always have to be seen as a negative thing. It's okay to take a time to just be calm and be more like maybe mentally in your mind about creativity, and knowing that what you think of then you can put into action later. So I guess that's about all I really wanted to say on that. I hope that really resonates with some people, and for others I hope maybe it's a new perspective. For me personally, once I kind of started looking at life through being an element of nature and realizing that my body, my energy goes through these cycles as well, it really kind of realigned me. I was able to not feel seasonal depression as much. I really truly hated the darkness of winter. I hated, being kind of forced inside because I don't enjoy the cold and the snow. For me, I would much rather be in summer all the time and be at the ocean. But it just wasn't really realistic. And then I learned how to embrace winter and to use that time to really reflect on my year. I think we do this a lot with New Year's resolutions. We kind of, what worked for me this year and what didn't. And then we try to enforce these changes that usually by the end of January have gotten us nowhere. So when you are goal setting, just try and take a few minutes and really think about the seeds that you're planting, and think about it in terms of your internal garden and what you're doing and where you're going. Okay, well, thanks.